Hello everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. Mother Nature loves to mess with Maine in the month of March. We'll have the latest on the incoming storm.
It's kind of a cool step to be the first one in my department.
A pair of Maine women are making history in the law enforcement world. We'll tell you all about it, and
I'm just mostly concerned about where this information goes, how it's going to be used.
Senator Susan Collins is co-sponsoring a bill that would require federal authorities to notify state law enforcement if a prohibited person tries to buy a gun and fails the background check. We'll have local reaction.
we'll also take a look back at a year's worth of memory since today is the anniversary of the debut of News Center Now.
Everyone, we have some breaking news to begin tonight. We will get to Keith Carson in just a moment for the weather, but first we are learning new details tonight about Julio Carrillo, the 51-year-old who is behind bars tonight, accused in the death of his 10-year-old stepdaughter.
According to our partners at the Kennebec Journal, Carrillo was assaulted inside the Two Bridges Regional Jail in Wiscasset, where he's being held. According to the paper, it was a fellow inmate, Paul Andrews, 34 years old, who was charged with the assault. Carrillo was transported to the Midcoast Hospital, treated for minor injuries, and has been returned to the jail. We'll bring you more on that story coming up in just a bit.
All right, now let's turn to Keith Carson, because everybody's talking about this next round. Another nor'easter on the way. What's the latest, Keith?
All the Facebook shares, guys. You know, you put 10 to 18. People love that stuff. It is on the way. It is starting to develop, not here, but here. You look at this and you would think this is our storm, right? It's this big swirly area of low pressure. It's actually this southern stream that's going to take over, develop into our coastal low tonight, and by tomorrow night it'll be snowing heavily. In between, it's fine. Tonight it's actually partly cloudy to mostly cloudy. A couple of snow showers early tomorrow morning, but most of the day tomorrow for most of the state is fine until we get to around sunset. That's when the snow starts to move in. And you'll notice how quickly it ramps up. Look at it around 7 o'clock. It's snowing lightly in most spots, and then watch it by 11. Now it's thumping snow pretty much everywhere, trying to get a few sleet pellets into the immediate coastline. Continues to snow late Wednesday night through Thursday, and through much of the day on Thursday, snow continues. It will be most aggressive, though, on Thursday morning. Afternoon still snowing. Thursday night, finally, the storm moves out. So we're going to have a solid 24 hours of snow in most spots. And guys, at times, snowfall rates at 2 to 3 inches an hour. So this still looks like a big storm. We'll talk about snowfall amounts and the consistency, because some of us will see paste and others will see kind of that powdery snow in the mountains.
All right, Keith, thank you so much. Marissa Kennedy's grandfather says she was more like a daughter than a granddaughter, and that she lived with him in New York for the first 7.5 years of her life. The 10-year-old was allegedly murdered by her parents after months of physical abuse.
News Center Maine spoke on the phone with Joe Kennedy, Marissa's maternal grandfather. He says her body is on its way to New Windsor, New York, where his family will lay her to rest. He would not talk about allegations of abuse against his daughter, Sharon Carrillo, Marissa's mother. Kennedy said he and his wife plan to move to Stockton Springs when they retire, but now that dream has been shattered. He says Marissa loved swimming, mini golf, and was the love of their lives.
Marissa's alleged murder has prompted some legislators to call for an investigation into Maine's Department of Health and Human Services to determine whether the system failed her.
A report by the state's ombudsman, or neutral investigator, shows that the department has struggled repeatedly over the last few years to follow protocol in child abuse cases. Christina Rex spoke with the man today. Christina?
Chris and Lindsay, wow. Day here. Christine Alberry says that while DHHS does the right thing in most of these cases, the stakes in these child welfare cases are too high when the department messes up. And that's what concerns her office the most. She specifically talked about how DHHS handles reports of abuse and says that following protocol like interviewing kids and parents and coming up with a short-term safety plan are sometimes a problem. She says she's bound to the same privacy laws as DHHS and can't tell us whether her office is investigating the handling of Marissa Kennedy's case. She does say her office has gotten an uptick in calls since Marissa's murder hit the news.
Of course it's awful, and it's been incredibly upsetting to even think about, something like that happening, and of course wondering if it could have been prevented by the department or by somebody else.
And we learned last week that Sharon Carrillo, Marissa's mother, who's charged with her murder, is pregnant in jail and due this May. That prompted a viewer to ask us to do a story about adoption options here in Maine. We asked DHHS what will happen when Sharon Carrillo gives birth. A spokesperson replied to our email saying some families make a plan for private adoption that doesn't require DHHS to get involved. Others use Child Protective Services assistance, which can lead to placing the child in foster care or with a relative. After the case makes its way through the court system, the child could either be placed back with its biological parents or made available for adoption, depending on the outcome. We spoke with a private adoption agency about what they do if an adopted child's biological parent has criminal charges.
Put the child at the center and work from there. So if a family is currently unsafe, there's a history of child abuse, or someone is really active in their drug addiction and can't be safe at a meeting, then we pull back. Sometimes contact just isn't going to be appropriate for that kiddo, and we'll help families through that as well.
Now, tomorrow we're going to be speaking with the commissioner of DHHS to get some more answers about how Marissa Kennedy slipped through the cracks. Chris, Lindsay?
But what we're talking about would not interfere with the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding Americans.
That is Senator Susan Collins last week speaking on new bills that she is supporting that would change gun laws. One bill she's co-sponsoring would require federal authorities like the FBI to notify state law enforcement if a prohibited person tries to buy a gun and fails the background check. We spoke with a gun shop owner and a county sheriff about the implications of such a bill. Certain people in Maine are not allowed to possess a firearm. Convicted felons, fugitives, or domestic abusers. Still, some try to buy guns anyway, even undergoing a background check. If they fail that check, federal officials are made aware, like the FBI. But in Maine and 37 other states, the feds are not required to notify police in that person's state.
Why wouldn't state and local law enforcement want to know about this?
Sheriff Kevin Joyce says the bill co-sponsored by Senator Susan Collins would provide his deputies with valuable information.
I mean, we're trying to protect people from the inevitable. And every bit of information we can get on people that should not have guns, whether or not they have it or they've tried to get it, is important information in my mind.
So I think any firearms owner is concerned about that. Not a firearm with a
Joe Cimino, the owner of Top Gun in Poland, says he's worried about this as a measure towards stricter gun control for law-abiding owners.
The rights of an individual are going to be denied based on how this information was passed and from what agency it was passed.
The bill says that federal authorities would have to alert state law enforcement within 24 hours if a prohibited person tries to lie on a background check.
Would we like it here at a gun shop if we had, certain information, especially medical information? That would be great.
Sheriff Joyce says there are still plenty of illegal options for a prohibited person to buy a firearm, but believes this information could protect innocent people.
So that we can link that with a person that we may be dealing with or may have dealt with, and that's just good intelligence information.
Now, under federal law, a person who is prohibited from buying a firearm who lies on a background check could face 10 years in prison. That bill already has bipartisan support from Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois and Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas.
The fight for net neutrality is still hot as 6 companies jump in the legal battle to keep it in place. Katie Ortiz here, and this is your social stop. CNET.com reports Etsy, Foursquare, Shutterstock, and Kickstarter are among the tech giants part of a group called the Coalition for Internet Openness. They filed this petition in a U.S. Court of Appeals challenging the Federal Communications Commission and their net neutrality repeal that's set to take place April 23rd. Now, Washington State, though, has no patience for that. Today, they passed their own net neutrality laws, which were passed with bipartisan support. Washington's law will take effect June 6th. Other states that signed executive orders include Vermont, New York, and New Jersey, but the FCC's order bans states from doing their own thing on net neutrality, so it's possible this will all end up in court.
All right, Katie, thank you so much.
Thanks, Katie. It's Women's History Month, and the timing could not be better for 2 Maine police officers.
It's the best feeling in the world, really.
How they're making history by conquering new territory at their departments ahead. March is Women's History Month, and history is in the making this week at 2 Maine police departments.
Tonight we're hearing the stories of 2 women who are taking on new challenges that no woman has done before at their departments.
Tuesday marked day 2 of a 14-week canine training course in Vassalboro.
Quite a bit of testing that goes on to find the perfect dog.
Among the officers there from across the state, Officer Caitlin Thurlow and her canine partner in training, Creed.
They always need a job. They're not happy unless they're doing something. So if you don't give them a job, they're going to find one. It's not exactly something that you're going to want. It could be eating a pillow off the couch or destroying something else.
Officer Thurlow was the first woman at the South Portland Police Department to become a canine officer.
How cool is it to be able to drive around with your furry partner in the back that's watching your every move and completely dependent on you for everything that they need, but also your protector as well.
She's not alone in paving new ground for females on the force.
I'm the first female supervisor here, so that says probably more than I can put into words.
Patrol Sergeant Tori Tracy of the Augusta Police Department was promoted to her new leadership role this week. She's the first woman to serve in this role for her department.
It's been a long time working hard, being patient, making it through my patrol years, making it through my detective years, just really preparing myself to become a leader here.
This spring will mark her 22nd year as a police officer, her dream since childhood.
Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't.
And best of luck to them in both of their adventures. You can follow Officer Thurlow's journey training her canine Creed on Instagram. We have that information posted at our website and mobile app.
Hey, speaking of dogs, do you think your pet makes a good guard dog for your home? You may be wrong. We'll explain.
And taking a look at the board now, when Now returns, Keith has your full forecast. Aw, Lee.
All right, have you ever wondered how your dog would respond if someone tried to break into your home?
One of our sister stations in Texas put 3 dogs to the test.
It's every homeowner's nightmare. A burglar breaks in. For home security, many people get a dog, expecting a ferocious bark or bite will fend off an intruder. But what would your dog do? To find out, we put 3 homeowners and their dogs to the test. First, meet Scout, a 3-year-old border collie. How do you think your dog's going to do?
Well, I think Scout has a mean bark, but probably not a mean bite.
Professional dog trainer James Remick of Iron Mountain Canine acted as our intruder. He wore a protective suit just to be safe. Outside, the homeowners watched our hidden cameras as the intruder made his move. First knocking, then rattling the door handle, then going inside.
She's nowhere to be found.
I know, where is she?
Scout ran upstairs and didn't bark for nearly 20 seconds, avoiding the intruder, who got away with our laptop. Besides a distant bark, she was nowhere to be found.
She definitely barked.
She definitely barked.
No bite.
No bite.
No bite.
Next up, Lucy, an 8-year-old pit bull mix.
I don't think she'll bite, but I think she'll be very scary.
Yeah. Scare him off.
Yeah.
What you want.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Okay.
As our intruder approached the front door, Lucy responded. She barked and barked. Listen to that growl. But when the intruder finally entered the home,
She ran away.
That's right, Lucy bolted down the hallway.
Lucy, let me down, girl.
Our fake burglar was able to grab the laptop, although Lucy did come back and continued to bark as the bad guy got away.
What do you think?
Well, I'm a little disappointed.
Not the fierce protector that you expected.
I know. She did good at barking and like getting up to the door,
right.
But she backed away.
Our third dog, also named Lucy, is half Shih Tzu, half Poodle. She's 5 years old.
I think she functions more as a doorbell than a guard dog, but we'll see.
Not that ferocious?
She's not very ferocious, no.
As our intruder approached, Lucy knew something was up. She barked at the front door and didn't back down.
Oh, wow, I'm impressed. She's actually barking at him.
It wasn't until the intruder entered the home that Lucy retreated, but she continued to bark loudly. The burglar got in and out, but this small dog made a lot of noise.
What do you think?
Well, I'm impressed, actually, that she kept barking.
Yeah.
All 3 dogs acted as an alarm, alerting their owners of an unwanted visitor.
Would most dogs react in the same way?
I would think so, yes. Yeah. This is typical.
The professional trainer explains it takes specialized training for a dog to provide real home protection. These dogs weren't sure how to respond.
They know how to fight another dog. They don't know how to fight a man. So it's different for them, okay, when they look at a man. You know, they have to size it up. What am I supposed to do here?
Burglars admit just hearing a dog bark is a deterrent. They'll think twice if there's an angry-sounding dog waiting at the front door.
Now, the trainers also say if a homeowner wants a dog for protection, the dog should be professionally trained. The owner should participate in that training process.
Speaking of scaring people away, Keith Carson is here now to tell you the forecast.
Yeah, as I was saying,
Is this snow going to be able to bark and no bite?
No, it's snow though.
I know.
Right? Like people get excited. It's a love-hate relationship with it. But yeah, it's still on the way. It's a pretty big storm system. You can see it developing down across really the south coast of North Carolina right now, and another lobe here. But this is the one we have to watch. This becomes our nor'easter by tonight and moves in tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. So tonight's fine. Most of the day tomorrow for a lot of us is quiet as well. Just a few snow showers along the coastline, a possibility here. But we get all the way to 3, 4 o'clock before anything really happens. Then the snow moves in from southwest to northeast, and by about 7 o'clock, it's into the mid-coast and into central Maine, and then very quickly kind of escalates from there. So here we are, 7 o'clock, light stuff over Bangor and barely any over Millinocket, but by 11, now it's snowing heavily, and we do have some sleet pellets trying to mix in along the coastline. I think that will happen. You'll hear it pinging because the mid-levels are warming up just a little bit, just enough to give you sleep. Snowing heavily through the morning hours on Thursday as well. Through much of the day on Thursday, it's still snowing. It's not until Thursday night that we get this storm out of here. And the first ones to clear will be southwestern Maine. The last to clear will be Aroostook County. A rare case where we don't have to change anything from the beginning to the end, which means inevitably it has to be wrong, right? But either way, 10 to 18 inches widespread. We see no reason to change it. The computer model's still largely on board. It all looks good synoptically on the large scale. So the only areas that are smaller here are away from the moisture source and over down East Maine, where you are going to mix with a little bit of rain. Try a new map today and let me know what you think of it, because people ask me quite often, what kind of snow is it going to be? Well, it depends on where you are, and this is a good look at it. We will be mixing with rain over down east, so keep that in mind. Some sleet in the pink shaded area will make it heavier. Paste here inland, which means really heavy wet snow. Wet snow in Augusta, Waterville, into Freiburg, and then fluffier snow into the mountains. This paste stuff sticks to vertical surfaces, right? So not just tree limbs, but tree trunks themselves. That's the kind of sticky snow that we'll be dealing with in that area. Winds will be gusty through tomorrow night, through Thursday. They should stay, though, below the threshold of any widespread power outages, about 45 miles an hour, maybe up to 50 miles an hour. Combine that with snow and you will knock down some branches. I don't think there will be that much damage, though. But wait, there's more, kids. We got another low that rotates around. So this is our storm. Watch that go away, and then watch this one sneak in from the back on Friday night, Saturday over down east and northern Maine. That could be for northern Maine another 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. So winter has re-arrived after a brief February break, right? Keep in mind, we do spring forward this Saturday night, Sunday, so there's something to look forward to. That way, at least, it'll be light out during these snow live shots. And there's some more snow possible on Tuesday. So March is doing its March thing, especially early in the month.
This is March Madness,
This is what happens, and we always act surprised. Always.
I feel like we shouldn't be by this point.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, Keith. Speaking of things to look forward to, Cindy Williams is here now with a look at what's coming up at 5:30. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. We got a lot more local news coming up for you, including the story of an elderly couple. They're in their 90s. They escaped a fire in their home in Brunswick with their lives, but they lost absolutely everything else. We're going to have their story for you. And a popular outdoor sporting store in Maine is now under fire for selling assault-style rifles. Now a petition to boycott that store has thousands of signatures. That's all coming up at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, thanks. News Center Now. We'll be back right after this.
Today is a very special day for News Center Now.
Happy 1-year anniversary, and even though Lee Goldberg, he's over there, has laryngitis, the party must go on.
So we brought in Tennyson Coleman. What's going on, Tennyson?
Hey guys, well let me tell you, everyone knows I'm the life of the party, and what better way to celebrate 1 year of Now than with a trip down memory lane. Check it out.
It is Monday, and it's the start of News Center Now. We're in Old Orchard Beach. We're bringing you the sights, the sound.
They expect to see more waves like this over the next couple of days.
Haul your boats out by mid-October each year.
Have you ever wondered where French fries come from?
Pete's win-win forecast after the break.
Hi guys, welcome. There's no way they actually believe the Earth is flat.
Is corned beef the meal for St. Patrick's Day?
It is for me.
Nearly half of the murders in the last decade in Portland are unsolved.
The president and Maine's governor think arming teachers and faculty could save lives if they meet a certain criteria.
Shoot or don't shoot. It's a split-second decision.
Okay. Probably not the most graceful thing in the world.
And lucky me, I even convinced him to sing a duet with me today. Hear that?
We're going to end Now tonight with fake news that will have you busting a gut. And contrary to what you might believe, I'm not talking about us.
Now for the grand finale, the Body Slam.
This is News Center Now.
And here's to many more years of News Center Now, guys.
All
right, Tennyson, attaboy.
Yeah, major credit for Tennyson putting that all together for us.
That's a lot of memories to go through.
So many.
So many.
Huh? I know, lots changed in a year. It's awesome though.
Oh, the whiteboard.
We can get canceled. Yeah, so accurate.
That's the cake show
to celebrate.
I
Don't
know,
worry,
exactly.
I hear it's good for laryngitis, so.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, hold.
Hey, thank you so much, everybody, for watching News Center Now. Make sure you tune in for us the rest of the week, but obviously News Center at 5:30 is coming up right now. Bye.
Bye.